All righty. Hey, I think that's really important. Literally every game that we do is on film. And we're going to see that in the next presentation that I like to call the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to see what the association gets, right? So if you think, oh, I'm doing this shitty JV game and nobody's going to pay attention to it, guess what? We all see it, right? And that becomes really important for self-reflection. It becomes important for us training. All right, we're going to look at a bunch of clips here. And you are going to vote on what you think the foul should be. It will be anonymous, but before we do that, I want to say, absolutely everybody is perfect in high def and slow motion. If you want to sit there and be like, well, how did he miss that call? Well, it was 104 degrees. It was, you were running down the field at 90 miles an hour, there was a pile of bodies, and you had to make the call right then and right there. We don't get the luxury of, this play is under further review. We don't get to do that. We have to make a decision immediately so that we know what's going on. So let's go to our next one. So this is not meant to embarrass anybody. This is not meant to highlight anything. This stuff happened, and like Jeremy said, we have to live with the consequences of our actions, right? We have all screwed up big things. Myself very much included. There's about 9 plays running through my head right now as I talk about this, okay? So we're going to go through a couple of things. What's the rule? You have to know the rules, okay? To Jeremy's point, when you call somebody up and you say, hey, I'd really like to discuss this with you, do not ask that person what the rule is. You should have already looked it up in the book. What we are interested in when we're talking to a mentor is, hey, let me explain to you what I think my interpretation of the rule is and my application. Let me walk through my logic and thought process. If you're like, hey man, is it illegal to cross-check people in the face? Like, no, okay? You have to get in the rule book first before you make that conversation. And I will tell you, the guys that I call, we are sitting in our cars flipping through the rule book at the end of most games thinking, oh God, did we get this right? And sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we don't. Ask Trey and I about our face-off shenanigans one day, right? All right, what's the specific situation? There are certain situations that are laid out in the rule book that don't give you an option. If this happens, we have to do this, right? Defenseless player, contact to the head and neck, right? All of those things are very clearly laid out. What is the level and temperature of the game? You cannot assess a foul based upon what I just saw without understanding, hey, this is a playoff game between really good teams. What I am going to allow is going to be different than when I'm doing a youth game, or I'm doing the blowout, or I'm doing the summer tournament consolation game where everybody's just having a grand old time, okay? And then finally, what have you already called in that game? Have you been real tight because it's been chippy? Has there been no problems at all, and suddenly, boom, this came out of nowhere? Or has it been ugly the whole time? Those are all really important factors in assessing. So there's no right answer that we're going to see as we move forward. Here's the big one, and this is, again, what Jeremy and Herbert have talked about. Your rules knowledge is essential. It is one of the 3 pillars of being a great official. Your judgment, your personal judgment and philosophy is essential. But you are not alone. You are a part of this community. And you can't be doing it substantially different than everybody else in the association, right? If you're the guy that walks out on the field that says, anybody wearing eye black that is inappropriate will be summarily executed immediately. No, you can't do that. So you have to be in conversation with other people in the association. So as we go through these clips and you anonymously click on what you think the foul is, if your judgment is substantially different than other people's, have a conversation with one of your mentors. Why am I calling it this way and everybody else is doing this? What's the logic? What's the philosophy? That's what I'm trying to get at here, okay? Well, this is not about being a rookie. This is about being an official, right? There are veteran officials. I mean, I will say this. Being an official for 15 years doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of 15-year officials who've been having their first year for 15 straight seasons. Okay? There's a lot of guys who are in their second year who I'm like, wow, this guy's spectacular. Being old is not necessarily in and of itself a great thing. Okay? In fact, the knees alone will tell you that it's not. But just being around for a long time, this is what we're talking about with playoffs. Just because you've been doing it for 20 years does not mean you are capable of or deserve a state championship game. Like, again, be honest with yourself. If you are out of the mainstream, that's going to be a problem for you moving up. Being in conversation and understanding what everybody else is doing is really important. I will tell you this, I essentially gave that same talk to college officials a month ago. Okay, so it's at every level, right? It's at every level. There are college guys who are like off on their own island, and it's really hard for those guys to move up, okay? So we're going to go through 10 clips, and you will get 4 choices as to what you think the foul is. And we're going to see, are we all on the same page? There is not one answer. There's a number of clips out here where there are easily 2 or 3 answers. And it is dependent upon how has the game gone, what have you called in the game, what is the level of the game. You will get the opportunity to do A, B, C, or D. You can change your answer, right? I'm going to ask you to discuss with people that are sort of sitting around you, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think we should be doing here? All right, let's go to our first clip. All right, so what are we thinking here? Oh, some people are voting. Some people getting in. All right, see if you can get in. I think you got a text. Oh, okay. Oh. See, it's not about being good. It's about being lucky, right? All right, so we've got a lot of people going legal contact. Okay? But what do we have in play here? In the high school rule. In college, that's a legal hit. Because there is no what in college? There's no defenseless player. And how do we define a defenseless player? What's one of the criteria of a defenseless player? There are 4 criteria. Buddy pass. And even if you spin your head around at the last second, right? It's being engaged in a face-off. Scooping a loose ball. If you are doing any one of those things, now you have to bring into the fact that, okay, we are dealing with the defenseless player rule. The defender cannot hit a player who is defenseless. Yeah. No, I understand, but let me explain how the coach is going to see it. Right? So, I am between in an exceptionally high level game. Can you get away with calling this legal? I think so. This is a 6-5 game between 2 decent teams. If this is a 23-0, What are we going with? We are going with defenseless player, right? If this is a JV game, what are we going with? Defenseless player. But you better be prepared to have that conversation, right? Now, do I think the defender was really doing anything here? No, he's just standing there. He's a big dude. Play the clip again. You can go back, play the clip. He doesn't really move. Now, he leans into him. He's not just standing there. Does he lay him out? No and yes. Let's be very clear about that. No and yes. Could it have been worse? 100%. Does he hit a defenseless player? Yes. Again, there is no right answer to any of these. Now, if you had gone unnecessary roughness, you better be prepared to have this conversation. If you're going to say it's legal, why is it now unnecessary? But you can always point to the rule book and say, Coach, this guy was getting a buddy pass. It's not about intent. I don't think this guy was trying to kill the dude. Intent in defensive players is irrelevant. Okay? So he didn't mean to hurt him is not a good enough excuse. Because 2 to 3 minutes is the only thing you can call for a defenseless player. You cannot call a 1-minute defenseless player. And this is what I mean by saying that if you're going to go with a rule, you better know all the rules, and you better know that defenseless player is only 2 and only 3 minutes with the possibility of ejection. You don't get to call a 1-minute defenseless player. Right? For those of you out there who like to call 1-minute non-releasable slashes, that's not a thing. That does not exist in the rule book. You're going to have a long day, right? Let's go to the next one. Eric Rudolph is calling me right now. Let's see that again. That is, I believe, Mark Bly. Yeah, I like the one-handed, the one-foot toss. All right, so what do we have here? We have a player with his head down trying to scoop a loose ball. We have clear contact that is violent, vicious, deliberate. It's not just a push, right? This is a big body check, and it's high. So I think indirect contact to the head is a possibility. I clearly think defenseless players in play here. And I clearly think direct contact to the head and neck. It's high. He finishes through the head, right? Unnecessary roughness you can't really go with because we've got a situation in the rule book, 2 situations in the rule book that specifically deal with that, okay? So I'd be happy with B, C, or D for the thing. And again, if this has been a physical, very skilled game the whole time, maybe you go with indirect contact. If you are trying to manage this game and you're trying to clamp down on it, you can escalate it to the 2 to 3 minutes. It is a poo-poo platter of options. You get the egg rolls, you get the dumplings, you get the short ribs, you get it all. So you got to pick which one you want to go with that is going to best help you get through that game. Let's go on to the next one. All right, let's see it again. All right, so let's go to our options. Do we have legal contact, a slash, indirect contact to the head 1 minute, direct contact to the head 2 to 3 minutes? Remember, you can hit a player in the head as long as it is not a strike, a definite blow, as long as it is not reckless, vicious, or deliberate. This, to me, is a doink. This is a tap on the head in a varsity game. JV game, different story. But if you call a tap to the head a slash, then any tap to the arm, any tap, you set the bar exceptionally low. To me, this is legal contact. That is your Rule 541 situation. You can have contact to the head that is not automatically a foul. It's just a brush. Now, do you say to that player, hey, 34, I need you to control your stick? Yeah.
But to me, that's not a foul. And I will tell you, as you move up, you have got to prepare yourself for more physical play. If you want to do a state championship game, and that's your definition of a slash, it is going to be a long afternoon. To the head, to the head, to the head. Rule 5-4. I mean, I put this in the rules clinic, right? So I've been putting this out there. I'm actually giving a presentation for USA Lacrosse on slashes, and I'm going to talk about this. So you can have contact to the head that is nothing. You can have contact to the head that is just a slash. And if you want to call that a slash, you are painting your entire crew into a corner.
Well, now it's everybody else's judgment. You have just decided that very minimal contact is going to put people in the box. And it is not our job to call foul for every play, right? This is what we mean when we say first flag really has to mean something, okay? We're not saying that we're not going to follow the rules. The rules give us the option to say that you can have a doink and it's nothing, okay? Now, if his head had snapped back, if he had been hammered, that's a different story. But what we have was clearly he's coming down with the opportunity to dislodge the ball. That's one of the things, when you look for illegal contact on a splash, do you have the opportunity to dislodge the ball? Because if you're just hammering away on his back and it sticks out here, you're not going for the ball. So you are more likely to call a slash, even if it's light contact. You might warn him at first, hey, 34, control your stick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't say get stick, because you just are implying that he didn't get stick, right? If you're the trail official, this is on the far sideline, you got to come up and say, hey, coach, he just doinked him. It's not automatically a 2-minute penalty, right? We're not going to put a lien on his house. We're not going to deport him, right? We wear equipment because we know that contact is going to occur, right? That wasn't enough to meet the bar. All right, let's go to this one. See that again? Okay. Yeah. No, I remember. And this was at the end of the game, right? So while it says on the scoreboard there that it's the first quarter, there were actually 13 seconds left in the game when that happens, and White was in the lead by 4 goals. There was no way White was going to lose this game, and he hammers that kid on the ground. Okay, so let's think about. Let's think about what our options are, right? You are not allowed to check a player who has anything but their feet on the ground. In this case, he's laying on the ground, so you can play him, you can check his stick, you can try to get the ball, he can play, but you cannot body check him. There is an opportunity to say, hey, you hit a guy and he was on the ground, but you didn't really hammer him, so I'm just going to call a legal procedure and award the ball to that player. That is an option. You could call an illegal body check. To me, this is not just you made contact. This is an illegal body check. But we have other options. A defenseless player laying on the ground, you could definitely go with that. Is this player trying to dislodge the ball in any way, shape, or form? There are 13 seconds left in this game, and he's going to win. He's the winning team. To me, this is targeting and an ejection. This is not a lacrosse play. You're not trying to get the ball. You're not trying to clear the ball. You're not trying to score. You're not trying to do all these things we do as lacrosse players. You're just hammering this kid. This is a 3-minute ejection. Now, I will say, we called a 1-minute illegal body check in this play, and the coach sat his player for the next game. He didn't play. Okay? Can we go back to that clip for a second, too? 13 seconds left in a game. Who's on the crease? I've got a guy on the 20, and I've got a guy on the 15, and I've got a guy driving to the goal. Get to your spot. Get to your spot. If you are thinking, ask Trey Towery about the last minute of a big game. He had a bench-clearing brawl in the state finals with less than a minute to go. Sorry, but we're trying to add therapy to our benefits package. You can talk to somebody about that later. Right? There are a lot of people in this room that can officiate for 46 minutes. How many people can officiate for 48? Don't stop officiating because the score is finalized and it's all over and there's nothing to worry about. You have to finish the game. All right, let's go to the next clip. Pat, what's the GHSA if you get ejected from a contest? 2. It's 2. If you get disqualified, it's 1. If you get ejected, you are gone for the next 2 games.
So don't be scared that there's no penalty in not calling it. If you toss that kid, there's consequences to it. That kid needs to be tossed.
And hey, I'll tell you this. That clip was sent to us within 15 minutes. Okay? 15 minutes. That is one of those hits where you should call Pat as soon as you get in the car. Because Pat's going to get a phone call. Yeah. Call on the field was a 1-minute illegal body check. And to me, you have to go defenseless player or you have to go targeting. And it's a 3-minute ejection penalty in either case. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next clip.
Another lights out save by Colson Miller.
Everybody watch the goalie. Goalie's got the ball. Boom! Just a pro tip, that's not a doink. That's not a doink. Goalie's got the ball. He is throwing a clearing pass. Okay? Now here you go. There are a number of factors that we need to take into account looking at this clip. One, what's the score? If white is losing by a lot, or let's go back to the clip for a second, or if number 3 red has just pumped in 5 goals on that goalie, you want to know that piece of information. The other thing we want to know, hey, can we go back to the clip? Alan. What is the goalie's natural throwing motion? If that goalie has been coming out of the crease and going behind the crease and making a pass every time, but this time he decides to hammer that guy in the head, then we got a different thing. Now, what is one of the exceptions to the slashing rule? Following through. You could go unnecessary, but clearly you have a slash. Clearly, this might be dead. No, but I'm loud. Clearly this is a contact to the head. Like this is not indirect contact to the head. This is direct contact to the head. Now, could you go slash? 100%. But if you say interference, I think you are misreading the situation here. It does depend, but I don't think anybody... Now, here's the only way I would think this was an exception. That team is down by 1. There's 30 seconds left, and he's trying to get the ball upfield as quickly as possible. So he's just chucking it upfield. If he's throwing it to nobody, all he's doing is trying to hit that kid in the head. And then what you've got to think to yourself, is that just a slash? If you had seen somebody do that on the field of play, not the goalie, would that have just been a slash? You baseball swing somebody in the head, and you're like, slash 1 minute? If you've got a defender right in front of you and you're trying to make a pass, and you follow through, but again, yeah. But again, when you see the big play that jumps out off the page on you, you've got to start thinking, we have a penalty here. Okay? Because if you just say that's interference, what's the red goalie going to do on the next outlet pass? All right, let's go to the next clip. All right, right there we have a slash. You see the flag come out. And then you've got that contact to end the play. Let's take a look at this again. So the slash on the hip. Boom. All right, let's see what our options are. Got 2 fouls on this play. Good job, everybody. Right? Why do we have an illegal body check? It's from the front. It's above the waist. It's below the shoulders. Falling to the ground does not make it a foul. He's jumping in the air, so he's not particularly stable, right? And he goes out of bounds. I mean, this is a great game. I think this is pace. Love it. This is a quality, high-level, skilled game played with athletes. I think this, I will tell you this. Let's go back to the clip 1 second because I want to point out. Watch the lead official. I think he realizes he has a foul, and he does a nice job of following the play. I wouldn't go too much farther past where he goes. And then we have an official. We've got mixed colors. We've got an official coming in. Okay? That's good dead ball officiating, and that's good, okay, we've already got a flag down. Things are getting ugly. We got to pay attention and lock it down. Right? So I think that's a great job. All right, let's move on to the next example. You got what? If you call that conduct, that's every play in lacrosse. There's bumping and shoving. After the play, there's going to be bumping and shoving, which is why, what do? We run in there and we stop it. We let them know that it's there.
Two things. If you're going to call a conduct on it, ask yourself, will this make the game better? Or can I just say, 14, I saw that.
Right?
But before you throw that conduct, ask yourself, will this make the game better or worse?
Because you're going to have to go to that other coach, and then every single time anybody touches anybody, they're going to say, well, why is that not a conduct? Right? Again, if we're allowing them to run at each other at the speed of light, bumping and shoving is part of a high-level game. Right? You better get used to that at a high-level game. Yeah, and you know, the guys will bump into each other, and then they'll be like, oh man, that's fine, okay, cool, so, you know, good job. You never know. It's gotta be something really big for me to want to step in and call that foul. Right? Bumping into guys. I mean, how much trash talking do we quietly hear that we are there to say stop it? Right? How many F-bombs do we hear of the goalie to his own middies? Right? You MFers need to play defense. Right? We can't be bombing flags. The best phrase I've ever heard. Jimmy Carter. This is a gentleman's game played by rogues. Okay? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of testosterone swimming around that field. Okay? All right, let's see this one.
Fourth quarter, 8-4, Walton Westminster. High-level game. Two solid teams. Now, this is an older clip. This is from a couple of years ago. Right? I would like to inform the white player that with 11 minutes to go, I don't know if the baby has quite gone to bed yet. Okay? So maybe we want to reassess ourselves on that particular situation. As somebody who's played in and officiated games where 7 goals were scored in 2 minutes, right? I don't think we're done yet. But let's show the clip again. Watch the official. What's he doing? He's talking to him. This is a perfect, if you throw that flag, every celebration now becomes a taunting or unsportsmanlike. My particular way of thinking about taunting is if you are celebrating and you are directing it at your team and your fans, that's fine, right? I want you to celebrate. There's joy in this game. When you have done incredible, amazing physical things, that's freaking awesome. We should allow players to celebrate that. We are not the joy police. When you are directing it at the other team, their fans, their coaches, their players, then I got a problem. Okay? And The baby's going to bed is a lot better than this. Okay? There's a substantial difference between the slitting the throat, right, or the baby goes to bed.
Don't stick the baby's throat. No baby sacrifices. Now, I am a teacher. If you do not know about the philosophy of multiple choice questions, there's something called a distractor. You cannot wipe off a goal because of taunting. Okay? Rule 4.9 will tell you what you can wipe a goal off for.
And there's a couple of other places in the rule books that will tell you where you can wipe off a goal. But at no place in the rule book does it say that you can wipe off a goal because of taunting. So that cannot be an answer. Okay? If you take the goal off, we're all going to get a phone call. Okay? Let's go to the next one.
He's out of the box. Kill him. Hit it.
Pop! Oh,
Hit
this
it.
is the kid you...
Oh, yeah.
That's it, Bray. Get him! Get him, baby! Get him!
Oh, that's a white room, that too. You ain't got no goalie.
White room, baby!
The ball is
White room!
goalie.
This particular stadium had an announcer that liked to make comments throughout the course of the game. You can't hear the video. They're all yelling in the booth. The goalie's out. Kill him. Kill him. Get him. Kill him. These are the same people that email me and tell me that I don't care about player safety. They're yelling weight room at the end. There's all sorts of stuff going on. All right, so let's go to our options as to what we have.
Ball on the ground at the end of the play or in the sticks.
The ball on the ground is at the initial first check. Goalie loses the ball, so the ball's loose.
All right, why is this an illegal body check? Yes, but is it vicious, violent, deliberate? You can say there was contact with a player on the ground, illegal procedure, white ball. Are you worried about that kid's safety because he's playing on the ground and there's contact? No. We allow way worse contact than that we say is legal. Has he been disadvantaged? 100%. I don't think that's violent enough in any way, shape, or form to call an illegal body check. So if you're thinking that's an illegal body check, I think you need to recalibrate what you're thinking. Now, I think the easiest one to do is call that a hold. If you're standing over somebody, you are impeding their movement. You have clearly disadvantaged that goalie and lose the ball. Hold. Right? I think you could call a legal procedure. But then you gotta go and blame legal procedure. You know, when you guys do face-off violations and you're like, there's been a violation. More to come. Right? Illegal procedure is like a bunch of random stuff happened. If you say hold, everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay? So, you can go illegal procedure. You can go holding. I think it's really difficult to say that that's a legal play. If you are literally standing on top of somebody, even if you are not sitting on them, you are clearly disadvantaging the players on them. Okay? So again, let's recalibrate what we're thinking. If you are going safety foul here, you are worried about the safety of that player. And standing over the top of him, I'm not worried that he's going to be injured. I am worried that he is disadvantaged. Okay? The second hit, where the goalie stands up and you get the pop from the side, that's from the side, below the shoulders, above the waist. That's a legal push. Right? That second one is fine. It's the standing over the top of him that I got a problem with. And I will tell you this. If you If you want to be a really good official, calling the personal fouls is the easiest part of the game. They leap off the page. Calling advantage, disadvantage is where we make our money. That's where we make our money. Yeah, the announcers were all screaming because they were for the riding team. Yeah. Oh, the whole time. Literally the whole time. Right. Here's how you handle that situation. Now, they were doing this on the audio of the video. Yeah. Now, they were an issue making announcements onto the field last season or 2 seasons ago, and we addressed that situation. Here's how you address that situation. You do not, quote, handle it yourself. You stop the game. You go over to the head coach and you say, I need you to tell the announcer to stop making comments about the officiating on the field. And if you do not do that, I'm putting your in-home in the box for at least a minute. Go to the game, but that is my time. You're going to go over, and then what you are going to do is you're going to call the assigner, and you are going to submit an incident report. I will tell you this, as a board member, I get phone calls that are like, why haven't you done anything about this? And I'm like, who are you and what are you talking about? If we don't know that it is a problem, there's nothing we can do about it. So what we did once we found out about this is Clyde and I pulled every single Mill Creek game and listened to what the announcers were saying. And then we immediately fired off an email to the Mill Creek staff.
And I just want to bring this up quick. Incident reports do not necessarily go to the state. The documentation, everyone on the board gets it. Even if you think something abnormal happens in the game, submit it. That way we got documentation in case we did. The board will decide if we need to go to the state or not, or if we just need to address it at school. So please, anything, field, situations like this, parents coming after you, whatever the case is, if something abnormal happens in the game, you submit an incident report on our website. Let us, we can handle it. Again, I get these comments all the time with Greg does. Well, this field's been incorrect. I go back and look, they have 10 home games and 1 incident report's been submitted.
If you have no sideline, or no end line, or no midline, there needs to be an incident report. I understand that we don't think anything's going to happen. Football is king. They want their beautiful little logo in the end zone and all that sort of stuff, and they want their little logo in the middle of the field. We need to know, because, well, we're hosting a playoff game. Are you? Right? Because we need to have a legally equipped field, right? What side of the imaginary line do you think he's on, Coach? We need this information. Do the thing. If you are trying to move up and you are not submitting incident reports and you're not writing incident reports correctly, I need the full name. I don't need Blue 34. I need Steve Smith, Blue 34 at 3:45. And if don't say he said bad words. Tell me what he said, okay? Be specific. Don't half-ass those incident reports. They're really important. This is how we try to make change. If we only have 1 incident report, it's hard for us to go to the state and say, these guys need to fix this, okay? Do the thing. All right, let's go to this one. All right, what do we think? All right. Can we have legal contact above the shoulders? Not when it wraps around the neck, right? Again, think about how I've taught disadvantage. We're thinking about it. And obvious. That is clear. Everybody and their grandmother knows that that's a foul. You're wrapping your cross around his neck. Now, does he run right through it? Yeah. But we got to have something here. This is a classic example of this is often called a hold. This is not what we are looking for indirect contact of the head and neck. It's got to be a definitive blow, strike. It's got to be a violent play. Now, if he had got him around the neck and yanked him down, we got a different story altogether. But just that stick up around the neck isn't enough for it to be a 2 to 3 minute penalty. This is a hold. This is a hold. He's disadvantaged. It looks terrible, but it doesn't quite meet the definition of a personal foul here. Okay? So that's kind of where we're at. All right, let's go to our last one. Let's see that again. One more time. All right, what do we think? So I've watched this clip probably 30 times. The answer is correct. I think it entirely depends upon the game that you have and what that player has done and what that team has done. I think you can call this legal contact. It is a bang, bang. We watched it 4 times, and look how many different answers we got. We get one bite at the apple, folks. It is boom, make a call. And so, is this a high-level game? Is this a blowout? Is this, have you had a problem with that defender throughout the game? You know, what do you got going on here? This is a classic example of, I don't think this is any one thing. I think other factors are more important in determining what this is than the play itself. Okay? So, could that be legal contact? It looks like the chest. Right? It looks like he hits him right as he releases the ball or within 5 yards. It's bang, bang. It is not a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, boom. It's a boom. Could it be an illegal body check and you were saying, Coach, he was a hair late because you're trying to put the clamps on this game? Sure. You know, this is a tough call, and this is why we make big money. We don't make big money, by the way, FYI. So there is a lot going on in that play. And I think it's a classic example of this is not a black and white job. It is not I see this and it is this. But it is important that you are in conversation with other officials who work at higher levels and have done those big games, have done state championships, have worked the higher level games so that you understand what the generality is. Now, I may disagree with Trey, and Mike might agree with me, and Clyde is in agreement with somebody else and we've done different. That's fine. You have to do the thing that manages your game based upon the level, the temperature, and what you have already called. Right? That is the most important thing that we need to do. And so, get on your phone at the end of a game, call us up and say, hey, I'm going to send you this clip from Huddle. I saw this play. I'm trying to wonder what's going on here. And I was watching this, and I don't understand why they called this. Share it with you. I love having those conversations, and I know that every member of the board does, and we might work it into training, right? So these are great opportunities for us to sort of calibrate where we all are as an association. It is not to say that there is one answer. There are multiple ways you can manage this, but you've got to be in the ballpark. What's that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Trey's bringing up players diving, loose ball, and a player dives at somebody. Are you allowed to make body contact below the waist? We have legal procedure if it's not terrible. We can have illegal body check. And potentially unnecessary roughness if you want to lock it in. We can't have direct contact to the head if you hit him in the feet, right? But below the waist, dangerous, right? Safety. And what never takes a holiday? Safety never takes a holiday, people. Safety never takes a holiday. All righty.